December 22nd, 2021, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilman Brennan?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Here.
Mayor Walsifer?
Here.
Councilman McCracken?
Here.
Councilman Carvelli is absent.
Thank you, April. Everybody join me in saluting the flag of our great nation.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops, their families, and all of our first responders. Thank you. All right, first up on the workshop, we have Barry Trudeau. Barry, you want to talk about the winners for our holiday decorating contest?
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I just want to thank everybody that did participate in our second annual holiday light contest. Also want to thank the businesses that donated gift cards this year. Jersey Mike's, located at 5th and Main Street, Sweets, Klein's, Main Street Donuts, and Beach House Brewery. So our third place winner goes to Janine Saletto. Second place goes to George Catcherbone, and first place winner to John Walsh. Want to thank everybody?
What are the address streets they were?
Oh, yeah, okay, one of the streets. So Janine Saletto is 319th 11th Avenue. George Catcherbone is 105 19th Avenue. And John Walsh is 1101 B Street. And I will send the gift cards, I will pass the gift cards out this week. Good.
Congratulations to all the winners. John, you do it every year. Good job. All right. Next up we have, thanks Barry for handling all that. Yep. Next up we have a presentation from Eastport. Eastport was here a couple months ago. We approved their project, but they're here with some changes to it that they want us to take a look at. And so we have Greg Falco and Barry here from Grasso Design. So if you guys want to come up and explain what changes you made. Just when it comes down to this resolution.
So, Brian Brzezinskis, I'm the owner and architect of Grasso Design Group in Manasquan, New Jersey. I was here with the last application that we showed, and ultimately, after having some conversations and some studies, we've come up with a different proposal for the same parcel of land. The biggest change being that as opposed to the previous building, which was a commercial structure on the ground floor with the residential units on the floors above, this in turn is almost a mixed commercial / townhouse type design.
If I could just stop you for a second.
Yes.
Maybe you can move that up so the council can take a look
I
at it.
can move it up as close as you want.
My eyes are pretty good. My one eye is pretty good, but I can't see it.
Better? More?
A little bit more. There we go. Now we go.
All right. There we go. So yeah, I mean, just for presentation purposes, I wanted to walk a little bit about the site so that you understand the concept of how traffic moves around the site and enters into the site. We have Main Street located on the bottom of this site plan. Here we're showing some parallel parking stalls that would be on main streets. Then we have going down 6th Avenue along the side, a series of diagonal parking stalls. And kind of in the middle of the property is a newly proposed driveway that is a private driveway that allows the residential units to pull into this driveway and then have their own individual driveways for each unit. as well as a individual parking garage for each unit inside of the ground floor space. Along Main Street would be a series of retail spaces. Those are just right now set up and divided based upon where the townhouse lines are. Of course, you might have somebody who might occupy 1, 2, or 3 of those spaces, depending on their demand. But the idea is to have, when you come into the driveway, 7 residential units that are accessed on the one side with a mirror image of 7 residential units that are on the opposite side. And I'm going to explain a little bit in the floor plan as to how they're very similar in design, configuration, and amenity, but a little bit different just because of how they are connected on the property. So starting at the ground floor level, or the first floor level, as I described, each unit will have its own individual garage. These garages are set up extra deep, so not only for vehicular parking, but possible storage use as well.
Sorry to interrupt, can there be 2 cars in that
Not,
garage? Not really.
not right now. I mean, it's a single car in a driveway, single car in the actual garage.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or-
With the units that are closest to the residential zone, furthest away from Main Street, all of those units behind the garage would have a small recreation room that includes a bathroom on that ground floor level and access out to a covered patio that would be behind the building adjacent to the residential zone. In the Main Street configuration, because we have commercial tenant spaces up there, the ground floor level stops at the garage. So those Main Street units, you pull in, you have a garage, you have access staircase that goes up to the next level, and you have an elevator, but you do not have the recreational room. So now as we go to the second floor plan, which is the main living floor, this is a more open floor plan with a great room, kitchen, that elevator access that I mentioned earlier, a small at-home office, and a half bath. With the units that are located again on the residential side, those just have this space. Their way to get to an outdoor space is to go downstairs through the recreation room to their on-grade paver patio. For the units that are on the back end of the commercial of Main Street, those units will recoup that recreational room because the way that we've designed it, and I'll show it in the elevation, these units now have a door that leads out of that living area to actually go on top of the commercial space, where they'll have a small recreation room as well as an outdoor balcony space that they could use for their own personal use that actually overlooks Main Street. So this elevation here that's shown on this page is just illustrating the Main Street view. Each one of those having the individual tenant spaces, and then a second level that has a mixture of some balcony spaces for each of the residential uses, as well as an upper level, which is the third floor, that covers the bedroom uses, including the Main Street having a balcony overlooking the street. The third floor unit, which also, the third floor of each unit, again, has the elevator access. It has a bedroom with its ensuite bathroom, and then it has 2 separate bedrooms that share a full bathroom and a laundry room on that third living floor. And then just to walk through some of the aesthetics on the elevation. So again, this lowest elevation here is the Main Street exposure. We've kept the height from the grade to the highest peak at right around 39 feet. The elevation that is depicted in the middle here is actually on 6th, where you actually will have those entry access points for the private driveway in the middle, and then going to each of the separate residential units on either the left or the right side. And then finally, when looking at this top elevation, this is an illustration of what you would see if you were in that driveway. So on both the left and the right side, similar looks and facades and aesthetics, where each one has a garage entry bay with a driveway in front of it, as well as a porch, or like a small front porch that allows you access into the building and to the elevator and the stairs on the inside. This building, which is I'm depicting the one that is closer to the residential, that is smaller in elevation. That's at around 37 feet in height currently to the peak. So it's a little bit smaller scale than what we're talking about along Main Street. If you want, I could go through some of the things that were pointed out in the review letter. We did review this and go through it. There's a lot of things for the bulk requirements for the zone that we're meeting. So the minimum lot area there is only 7,000, and this is a 30,000 square foot piece of land. The frontage is only required to be 50 feet when we're 150. We have a minimum front yard setback of 0, which is along the Main Street lot line, and that's what we're proposing. We did have a rear yard setback requirement on the property of 10 feet, but we're actually exceeding that with 20 feet because we acknowledge it.
Residential side?
Yeah, we acknowledge it abuts a residential zone. Then we don't have a minimum side yard requirement, and our impervious coverage, which I believe we were talking earlier, might existing be 100%, where 80% is permitted, or that you could match the existing coverage. We actually figured a way to get it down to 74.7%, so that we're not as, we're more pervious than the existing site today. And then this is obviously a 3-story structure. So a couple other items going through that letter real quick. I did talk a little bit about the elevation height of the Main Street. I would like to point out on the elevation that's shown for 6th Avenue, you could almost start to see where the ground floor is sticking out the most. And then as we go to the balcony area, which is located above for the 2nd floor, that's starting to step back, and then it steps even further back when you get to the 3rd floor balcony off the bedroom. So we're trying not to create a flat facade on Main Street, we're just trying to step it back gently as we go through. For the parking, I kind of touched on it, that there's 7 units in each building, residential. Each one of those has a garage parking stall as well as a driveway parking area. So that's 14 units, all having 2 spaces. And then for the commercial application, the total square footage I added up was around 4,800, and it's mentioned in the letter for 5,000. That requires the 15 spaces. And you can see in the site plan, while it's not on-site parking, there is a location of several diagonal stalls, including a handicap one and some parallel stalls along Main Street that we've incorporated in the design and the layout here. We also have an area in the private driveway for trash and recycling, so that can easily be a truck to drive in and to pick up. And then, yeah, so then the site, there's some questions about some of the dimensions. I don't have the dimensions from the engineer for exactly how these parking stalls are set up, but we could definitely provide that if it's necessary.
How many units was the original one compared to what the units are now? It seems like it's less here than it was.
Definitely less here. I don't remember.
It's 8 less.
8 less, there you go.
8 less units. All right, anybody have any questions for Brian?
Let's go for it.
First off, it's a nice design. I really like the idea that it's a 20-foot setback back to the residences behind it. I like that. First question is, if for those units on that side with their little backyard space, are you thinking of installing fencing, or is that going to be up to the person who owns the unit?
Between each unit or between
Between the units and the residences that are already existing there?
There's one resident that abuts on the east side,
Mhm.
and there currently there currently right now is either board on board, and it transitions into a 6-foot white vinyl fence, which I believe, it was there when we purchased the property, but if it's in shabby shape, we plan on replacing that with the same or better grade fence.
Next thing, I really like that it's less impervious than what's existing now. I noticed that you have that big open space in where the private road, private drive, right?
Right.
Which is open to the elements. I would encourage you to look into some kind of way to handle stormwater there and reduce your pervious coverage there. I mean, I don't know if pavers are practical, but something there to help reduce the storm. We're gonna have to deal with stormwater anyway, right? Right, so,
That would be the question for the engineer, and
okay.
I'll definitely pass along the information.
All right, the thing that gives me concern is these are 3-bedroom units, and what's the parking requirement? Is it just 2 spaces for 3 bedrooms?
So because this is in the redevelopment area,
Right.
The parking requirement for any residential unit is 2 spaces.
For any residential unit?
Correct.
Okay.
Unless it's affordable, then there is.
All right, so then even with the 3 bedrooms, and one thing that, I mean, there's an office on the 2nd floor. I mean, I can see people trying to, I don't know how many people would buy units like this, but to use 4 bedrooms in one of these units, I don't know if that's a thing that's actually gonna happen, but it definitely occurred to me that could be that could be a problem, you know? But I really do like the improvements.
Put it on the record real quick, that's Christine Bell from Akian's firm.
The same, right? Because it's all that's required, so I can be concerned, but you're meeting the requirements, so.
Right.
Okay. That's it for me.
Anyone else, Jay?
Okay, could you just explain one more time the trash management plan?
Okay, so what I know, because this, for the engineer's drawing, we're showing a trash and recycling enclosure that is at the far end of the private driveway. So this would obviously be used for all the residences in order to be able to put stuff into the space and then utilizing the private drive for pickup.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, sure, you can come.
No. Sorry, I couldn't get the mic to work quick enough. I apologize, Councilman Getty.
All right. I just like to see Christina. Yeah, Christina, maybe you could enlighten us on, does this fit in Seaport redevelopment?
Sure, so we reviewed, their application, and I believe it does fit in the Seaport Village redevelopment area, and with the overall goals of that plan. Just kind of to give you some context and background. So they're proposing, as described, a mixed-use building, commercial space on the front floor, townhomes above and behind that, and then just behind that. Residential dwelling units are permitted on the 2nd floor or above, fronting on Main Street, and residential dwelling units are permitted on all levels greater than 50 feet away from Main Street and within 100 feet of adjacent residential zones. So their all-level residential is greater than 50 feet away from Main Street. So it meets all those requirements. As Brian went through quickly, they meet all of the bulk standards. We did, express in our review of their concept plan some concerns just about where the commercial parking was going to be, but it sounds like they've addressed that, and that's something that I think, could be worked out in the redevelopers agreement, whether the on-street spaces are dedicated just for them, or how that works out to meet their commercial parking requirements. But I think overall, it's an attractive project. It fits with the theme of the redevelopment area. It provides a nice continuity of architectural design with the project next to it, which was recently completed, and it meets the requirements of the redevelopment area.
questions or have a chance to see the plans?
When we get to the resolution items, it will be public comment because it's on the resolution item.
Okay.
So if you guys can just hang around for that, public comment. All right, that's all we have for workshop. Anybody else have anything for workshop? All right, moving on. Before we have any petition?
No.
Approval of minutes, December 6th.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6, 2022 meeting?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes. Reports of council. Council President McCracken.
Thank you, Mayor. I just, we'll be pretty quick here. I had the opportunity to attend the soft opening of F Street Social on December 9th. Very nice addition to our downtown. Very nice menu. And I'd like to congratulate Steve Smith and his family for going into that space and improving it and doing, having a nice new addition to our main street. I had the opportunity also to attend the premiere of the Holiday Light Show. That was on December 10th in Piano Plaza, complete with pyrotechnics. There are abbreviated shows every night since, and I think I can do this on behalf of the council. Mark, I'd like to thank you and Mary both for sponsoring this event. It was very nice of you to do it. I'd also like to recognize and thank the Friendly Sons of the Shillelagh for once again hosting a toy drive and coat drive. Lisa and I had an opportunity to volunteer at one of their events, and an unbelievable amount of toys were collected and donated to agencies to distribute to those families who aren't as fortunate as others. And you know, just generally, the Friendly Sons of the Shillelagh does a tremendous amount to improve this community, and they are certainly worthy of the highest recognition, so I'd like to thank them for that. Last night was the menorah lighting in Piano Plaza. There was some confusion about what night or nights were appropriate to have the menorah lighting. The rabbi clarified that last night was a very appropriate night to have the menorah lighting, as it's the first full day of Hanukkah. The rabbi did a fantastic job explaining the significance of the menorah and of the Hanukkah holiday in general, and it was a very nice event. I was very glad I was able to attend. And finally, I'd just like to wish everybody from all faiths and all traditions happy holidays. Enjoy the time with your families. Talk about peace and joy and blessings to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I also got to attend the menorah lighting last night. I want to give a shout out to Chris and Rena Brandel for having the food after the lighting and making all the arrangements. And the rabbi had the most gorgeous voice. It was a pleasure to sing along with her. It was really good. The Environmental Commission had a meeting last Thursday. They're continuing with the same projects they've been working on, but one thing I want to let people know, there are 2 openings on the Environmental Commission, with Tom Burke and Mary Grace Dakotas not being available to serve anymore. So if anybody's interested in being on the Environmental Commission, send me an email, tbrennan@belmar.com, and we'll see what we can do. And I want to echo Councilman President McCracken sentiments. The best holidays for everybody here. The holidays can be a tough time. I've been telling people, I go back and forth between I love the holidays and bah humbug, and back and forth and back and forth. But it's a wonderful time of the year, and I wish you all the best with friends and family. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a lot to report on. We are taking up the ADA next committee meeting will be in January, and everything's moving along with all the programs in recreation. Barry announced tonight the winner. Congratulations, John Walsh, on winning the holiday lights on your home, first place winner. And all the kids are off from school starting Friday for the week for a holiday break. So that is really all I have, and I'd like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all, Happy New Year, and healthy and safe New Year, and we'll see you next year. Oh yeah, that's right. 29, and then I'll see you next year.
Thank you. I don't have much, but I do want to thank our chief and the police department and DPW for putting together Santa and getting the toys to all the kids in town. I mean, they really do enjoy that when all the police cars show up and Santa comes to their door. So thank you for orchestrating all that. As always, DPW is doing a great job keeping our lights lit for the holidays. And I know we have a lot of them, so thank you for doing that. And that's basically all I have. I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and enjoy the holiday season. All right, so we're going to have a public session on any of the resolution items. Linda, this is your time to ask questions if you'd like to come up.
Mrs. Marcus, 4th Avenue. Your presentation is really important. Although you gave it to the council, none of us had any visuals to accompany it. Could they spend?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You didn't have the opportunity. Sorry about that.
There you go.
So, your project is very important to our community. We loved what you presented the first time. Would it be possible for you to show us the layout so we could take a look at it rather than watch videos and then ask questions?
Absolutely.
It's up to you.
Absolutely.
We'd love that.
Absolutely.
I hope I'm speaking for the rest
Oh,
of the
no,
members.
absolutely. Well,
Thank you.
swindle it around.
Yeah, if anybody would like to move it closer so I can see it. I know normally we project it on the screen, but didn't happen tonight.
All right, here we go again. So, again, I'll try to be brief and try to summarize a lot of the talking points, but ultimately, what we're illustrating here is the site development plan for the parcel of land that's located on Main Street and 6th. As I mentioned to all, there is a series of parallel parking stalls located on Main Street, as well as a commercial retail space going along the sidewalk of Main Street. Then going down the 6th Avenue corridor, there's a series of diagonal parking spaces that are located on the street, as well as a centrally located private drive that allows access to each one of the individual driveways for the 7 units that are located in this back section of the property closest to the residential zone, as well as 7 residential units that back up to the commercial retail space. Now I could show you on the floor plans how that kind of all works together. So from a ground floor perspective, it's a little bit different for the 2 separate spaces. The ones that are going to be behind the commercial space are going to have a garage entry that has a space for storage of a vehicle, as well as some additional space for additional storage. And then only the units that are located closest to the residential zone have this recreation room that spills out to a covered patio in the back. In the units that are on the back side of the commercial space, this recreation room doesn't exist because this is the location of the commercial retail space, and instead we transposed it to an area up above on the 2nd level, which is the main living floor. So on the main living floor, it's an open floor plan. There is a small home office and a half bath, elevator access, as well as on just the Main Street side units access out to what will be a recreation room in the space, as well as an outdoor balcony for, outdoor dining or whatever they might want to do right along the Main Street corridor. And then finally, going up, there is a third floor, which includes the bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, as well as 2 additional bedrooms that share 1 full bathroom. And then just to give you a little bit more intel on the elevations and how they kind of orient the building. This is that Main Street elevation that I was talking about earlier with the ground floor commercial retail. On the upper level, you start to see these balconies and outdoor space that each of the residential units will have, as well as a set of balconies coming out of the upper level bedrooms. On the side elevation, which is the 6th Avenue elevation, here you see the centralized private inlet for going to each of the individual driveways on either side. These 2 buildings face each other. This is the elevation of these buildings as they mirror image each other, with the private driveway to the private garage, as well as a private porch entry for each one of the residential units. And then just along the Main Street, one thing to point out is the retail is closest to the sidewalk line, while the rest of the building, when we start introducing the balconies, starts to step back so that it doesn't have a full front facade going vertically right along Main Street. Quick rundown.
Beautiful design.
Thank you.
And great that it meets all the
We
needs.
try.
Who do you envision being your commercial clients?
We have actually been in negotiation with a couple of people at this point in time. I'm not at liberty to tell, but it's going to be something different and exciting for the borough.
Are we entertaining one of the existing corner people to take the corner space?
It actually depends. Again, one of the things that and my partner Brett and his wife Laura, they're in Florida, so I'm here alone, so you're stuck with me tonight. But one of the things that we thought about with this project is that we wanted condominium townhouse type buildings. We didn't want to put in apartments and flats. And that's one of the reasons that we changed from our 22 unit building, which would have had even more traffic, and it just wouldn't have given the potential purchasers, bang for their buck that this will do, because these are going to be somewhere in the area of about 2,000 square foot homes. And as far as the commercial tenants down below, we don't envision more than 2 tenants. And it's, yes, it's a good possibility that we may want to put in, yes, if we can find Andy's retiring, so if we have a solid tenant that would like to keep Acropolis going, we would find a spot for them. But we also have another type of operation that we've been negotiating with. And again, everything's a condominium, including the commercial space. So we're not going to be renting the commercial space. We may lease to purchase, but we're looking for whatever amount of commercial plus the 14 residential, all to be, live-in taxpayers in the borough. That's what we feel is the right thing to do.
When will you be breaking ground?
Brian and I were talking about this. If we're approved, we were going to try to get to planning board in the spring and start construction in the fall. So sometime September, October-ish, as long as we can get all our approvals, by that point in time.
Can a fire truck get around the whole building?
Actually, now, yes. Well, this drive is 24, 25 feet wide, which is actually the size of a city street for two-way traffic. So if you need to get a fire truck fully down here, you actually can, yes. So, which it would have been really difficult to do with our prior design, but now you'll have access from 6th Avenue, our drive, and Main Street if necessary. And the front building, since it's mixed use, will be sprinklered.
And the first aid, of course, to get in. The parking for the...
Just 1 second. If anybody that wants to speak, if they just give us the name and address for the record.
Anita Pecorelli, First Avenue. The commercial in the front, so I heard the conversation, but I'm not sure that I understand it. The parking, are you leaving the parking in the front for the commercial businesses so that the people who want to use their business have a place to park?
As far as the parking is concerned, we've actually got 17 parking spaces with our redesign of our diagonal on 6th Avenue. And again, right now, I believe there's like 2 parking spaces on Main Street now because this is all access driveway with the exception of what's currently in front of Acropolis. So, what we envision is that, you know, again, from 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. till 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you know, we envision this fully commercial at nighttime, however. And even during the day, it actually creates, this switch to diagonal creates a lot more spaces, so even the people, you know, the parents picking up their kids over at the grammar school will be able to, you know, pull in, park, and, you know, right now they're using our lot, which we've been letting them use for years. This will even give that there. Again, commercial is a mandate in the Seaport redevelopment area, and but we'd like to have like the right tenant mix, and I've always tried to do that on all, and my partner Brett, we've always tried to do that on all our mixed-use projects, which, you know, he has the Dunkin' Donuts site over on by the grammar school. I have the RKE Mr. Shrimp site over on Highway 71. So we try to get good long-term tenants that, you know, are good for good for us and good for the borough.
Yeah, I just want to make sure they have parking. If they're going to buy a place and pay taxes to us, they should have parking for their customers. One last question. Jersey Mike's on the opposite corner is very, very tight to the corner, that building. And I don't know setbacks or anything like that, but that is so tight to the corner. Are you that tight, or like how does that work?
I mean, Brian can tell you, but coming up to the parking spaces, I believe that we're over over 20, almost 20 feet from the building to the edge of the sidewalk there, which is the back of the space.
Yeah, I don't know what any of that means. I just know that Jersey Mike's, that the building came out so far. They allowed the building to come out so far to that corner. I don't even know if a wheelchair can get around on that sidewalk there.
Well, wheelchairs would definitely be able to will definitely be able to make the sidewalk. You know, the other thing too is that the 5th Avenue corner is tough because you're making that easterly turn, and again, you've got the people backing up into the flow here. The good thing about this is that all the diagonal is facing west, and again, you don't have that constant turning onto, you know, especially heading to the beachfront line. You don't have that. This actually lays out, you know, we've already spoke to our traffic people. This actually lays out far better. And again, currently right now, the actual, you know, when you look at the spaces, I know it's difficult to design here, but the edge of this space is pretty much where the parallel spaces end currently right now on 6th Avenue.
Yeah, my concern would be for the school though, because I know like Belmar Elementary, just at drop off and pickup, it's chaos, you know, so now you have another school here, and now your building's out to the corner, so all of their views are gone because you used to have the parking lot there, and everybody used to be able to see across, you know, going, so you're gonna have all these people coming and going and coming, and I don't wanna make any, you know, I hope not to make any mistakes for all those school children and their parents and gym. I think they walk across the street for gym and they use our building and stuff. So I just want to make sure that you like thought of all that and set it all back far enough, and you know, consider that when you go into that, because you know, sure, there's enough spots for the people that are going to live there, but you know, the children that have to go to school there, in and out every day, that's a lot to consider.
Well, again, we had a lot of that in mind when we put this together.
Okay, I hope so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Bob?
Robert, 8th Avenue. Is that alley that goes to the parking entrance, to the parking spots, is that an ingress and egress, that right in the middle? Is that a one-way design where you have to go in and out of that?
Well, it's a full street. It's 25 feet wide.
Okay. That's not covered then? That would be open?
Yes.
And my concern, the reason I'm asking you is my concern is, if it's only one way in and one way out, you have to have provision for snow removal. And that can't just be a plow. That's
We understand it, and again, we, my partner and I, Brett, we actually built Westport over on Highway 71, 55 and over community, and again, you have the same thing over there, except you have roads going in multiple directions. And, when, in the first few years before the condo association was actually totally sold out, Brett and I actually did the snow removal ourselves. He had a front end loader, and of course I had a plow. Over here, and again, now that we don't anymore, I believe their condo association hires someone with either Bobcat or that. So it's yes, you can't. However, you can, believe it or not, with the plow. His plaza on the corner of 18th and F Street, or 18th and Main. It's a really tight lot with turnarounds there. Unless you're getting 2 feet of snow, there's enough room to actually move it, okay, where if you're good with the plow, you can. But yeah, odds are, once the condo association takes over, you're gonna get a full-time landscaper that's gonna have a Bobcat.
good.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else on any other resolution items? Anybody else? No?
Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
All in favor? Can I have a motion to amend the consent agenda to remove resolution 2022-233?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsinger?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
And then, can I have a motion to adopt resolution 2022-233?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney, you abstain? Mayor Walsinger?
Yes.
And Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Last item is second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2022-21. This is a bond ordinance reappropriating excess bond proceeds to finance the cost of various marina infrastructure improvements. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address.
Anita Pecorelli, First Avenue. Where does this where does this money come from?
Turn the mic on.
Hello? Anita Pecorelli, First Avenue. Where is this money coming from? What bond?
It was excess money in a grant that we had, I think, for water sewer, so,
For what?
I think it was for.
Outflow pipe.
Was it for water sewer?
The outflow pipe, so the
Yeah.
money that we tried to get so hard now, we didn't need. Is this on top of the $1.4 million that we found, you had an ordinance another time?
Well, what happened was there was $1.4 million in there that we're gonna move over to do improvements in the marina. But, after the CFO looked at it, $600,000 of that money had to be designated still for the outflow pipe. This is the excess money that we're moving over.
So it's just this amount of money. Okay, so my question would be, why is it going for the marina if we've come up with this amount of money with the roads, infrastructure that we need? The library needs windows, the senior center needs some new tables. Why are we deciding on the marina? And if I had a vote, I would vote no.
Well, we decided on the marina because 3 of the docks need all new electric, and that's 3 of the docks need all new electric, and we've already approved the electric being done there. So this money here is, if we had to go out and bond for it, with the way the interest rates are now, it would be expensive. This here was a lot less expensive than interest rates because we already had it. So we're gonna move that over to finish up the 3 docks that need the electric.
And the marina services maybe 300 people. It has 70 transit sites, and there's 5,000 people in the town. The library, I put $300,000. They left $300,000 on the table this year, and they have no authorization from the town for 4 years for any improvements on the windows, the doors, any of these things. So I thank you very much for this.
We have an engineer now looking at the library for the money that we have put aside in the capital expense. Are you listening? We have money put aside for a capital expense for the library. We have an architect working on it, so that's moving forward.
How much is in the capital account?
And the Belmar Senior Building is a separate authority and is looking to use a RAD for PrAC money to improve that building.
No, the recreation, the senior recreation at Taylor Pavilion, they're playing mahjong on wobbly tables. Okay, the tables need to be replaced for the recreation. They're all kind of like wobbly. And how much is in the library account? And when?
Well, off the top of my head, I don't know.
But this has been going on for 4 years. The library's been needing improvement for 5
Anita,
years.
could you come up and use the mic so people can hear you, please?
I don't understand why we're in discussion.
Well, because you made accusations that are
Anita
incorrect.
Pacarelli, First Avenue. For 5 years, the library has been on needing windows, since I started working with the library, and they've never got any authorization from the council. Every time it was at the board meetings, they was said, yes, 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 we're gonna do it, and then I just sat there at the December meeting, and they left $300,000 on the table, and there's no movement on the windows. It's another conversation. They're gonna have another meeting with the architect, and here it is 5 years later. So what am I supposed to do?
Your information's inaccurate. The library board comes forward to give us information in regards to what they can do with that building. It was a historical site. We had a lot of things that we had to research for the historical site. We got all our improvements. Mr. Young did an amazing job getting everything together, getting the architect and the engineers down there to look at the facade, to look at the windows. We have an architect drawing it up, an engineer working on it. The money has been set aside in the capital expense, and we're moving forward with that capital expense. Don't have it in front of me. If you call my office, I can give you that number, or talk to the CFO, but we are moving forward with the library. It hasn't been 4 years or 5 years, like you said, so I appreciate your comments.
I'm talking about the tables at the recreation for mahjong.
Nobody told us about any tables and chairs being wobbly, but we'll take a look at it with recreation.
Councilman Burns?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to make clear, I understand that you're concerned about these expenses, and they're definitely something we have to look at. But as a member of the Harbor Commission, I can tell you, I've been serving on the Harbor Commission for more than 9 years now, and more than 8 years, sorry. And the marina, although you say it only services a small number of people, that marina actually services the entire town. All the excess revenues from the marina, besides operating and capital expenses, go directly into our general fund, and that's what helps keep property taxes down. All of us have seen the difference in the marina since all the work has been done, and now our slips we're basically full, and we have a waiting list, and that's the first time I've seen that. But if we don't maintain the quality of the services we supply to the people who are willing to rent those slips, then we're not going to see that anymore, and we're basically going to be shorting the town and leaving them out in the cold. This work that we are bonding to do, this electric work, that's needed to be done for the entire time I've been serving on the Harbor Commission, but we haven't had the money. Now we have the money, and we should do it, and once we do it, we won't have to do it again for quite a while, and we can keep on bringing in the revenues that we're getting from that marina, which is nothing to me but a success story. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on this ordinance?
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-21?
Motion.
Second. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Public comment. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Linda, go ahead.
Linda Sharkus, 404th. I want to take this opportunity to thank the mayor, the council, Ed Kirschenbaum, the chief, DPW, our social media guy, our IT guy, for all the wonderful things you've accomplished in your time in office. You should be very proud of what you've done for our community. And we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Linda.
Amen.
Sarah?
Claire Hayner, 18th and B. Quick question on the recycling. That's moving from Mondays to Thursdays now. Okay, totally understand, cost beneficial, all that. Prior to it, the town taking it over and switching to Mondays, which I had recommended, because of all the group rentals and all the recycling that sat on the side of the streets forever and ever. The town used to offer the renters, the owners, I should say, for, I don't know how much it was, $150, whatever it was, that the town would pick it up on a Monday from the group rentals. Is that possibly going to continue to happen?
Yes, we're going to leave that in the hands of our DPW superintendent to work all that out, because we won't be here, but he's going to be working it.
So that still be on the table, so if the streets will be clean from the group rentals?
It's something that we're going to discuss, yes.
And also, we met with today about that. Code enforcement also will be dealing with all the landlords in regards to the group rentals to work something out. So there's going to be a plan in place.
Okay, if not, we're going to make a ton of money, because it's all going to be sitting on the side of the streets, so that's fantastic news. I know it got my neighbor calmed down. So. And after all the years of working in corporate, and we were forced to say Happy Holidays, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy everything else that you celebrate. Thank you.
Yes, Noreen.
Noreen Dean, 106 16th Avenue. I'd like to take the time to thank everyone that's sitting up there, including the people that work in town, people that work for the town, and all the people in the audience. We have a wonderful town, we really do. And I consider it like a little neighborhood in a big city. I've been here over 40 years. I live on the first block of 16th Avenue, which has dramatically changed and improved. From group rentals, crazy, they used to call it the ghetto, blah, blah, blah. There's been so many improvement, and wonderful people have moved in because we've been allowed to improve our area. And I think each one of you should take a bow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Maypother is a representative of the Belmar Arts Council. The last thing you guys need is somebody blowing smoke up your nose, but I gotta tell you, as the chairman of the piano in the park, or in the Plaza project, without your enthusiastic support and your dedication, it never would have gotten off the ground. So you guys all deserve, great accolades, and, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Kyle. I thought I saw your hand up.
Lower down like
Kyle Rizzatello, 14th Avenue, Belmar. Well, thank you again. Everybody is saying thank you, but I deeply thank you all for everything you've done the whole time you guys have been in office, and ladies in office, the accomplishments you've made. You pulled Belmar out of a debt that this town was literally falling apart. It was going down the tubes from our previous administration. You amazingly pulled this back up to a functionable and profitable town. And it's looking better every day. And I've been here for over 65 years. And I have seen a lot of changes in this town. Excuse me, and a lot of improvements. Maybe we don't always agree on everything, but everything is going in the right direction. And I don't think people realize how much time, and I mean time, your own time, that all of you spend, police department, borough, municipality, lawyers, everybody that is involved in this town to keep it going in the direction it's in. You can't even get paid for the amount of hours that you all put in, because you put in so much of your own personal time to get things done. And I think you need to pat yourselves all on the back for that, because there's many things that you guys have accomplished that were never done, never thought about. And Mayor, I'm just highly impressed of all the grants that you've gotten us. The previous administration just put us into high debts. You're the one that helped us get out of debts. You gave us, you went out of your way on your own time to apply for grants and funds that we were owed. You got our street turned into a one-way, which is a safety hazard, and that was taken care of. It's a permanent one-way. The townhouses on 14th Avenue and 71, as Greg was involved with that, it has improved the neighborhood tremendously. It's quiet. There's 55 and older that are there. It has improved that area. The buildings and the condos on 10th Avenue and Railroad, that's a 4-story building, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Flames Restaurant is 3.5 stories tall. Stay Gold is 3.5 stories tall. And the brewery is 3.5 stories tall. Just wanted to remind you that of the height of all these buildings. I don't see a problem with it. So I don't know why everybody's having such a problem with other buildings that are going up, because they're improvements in town. Like I said, I've been here for over 65 years. I've seen different changes. I've seen improvements. The town has always had a parking problem. Belmar is a resort town. It's a great place to come. It's an excellent place to live. And things don't happen overnight. People have to be patient and understand that the improvements are being made. They're being thought out. Things are being laid out. Things are discussed. They're weighing out the pros and the cons of everything, and they're doing what's best for the town. I have in my hands, right here, a copy of my own property tax bill. The 4 years that you have been in office, and you've all been up there, I have not gotten a property tax increase. Do you get that? I understand, and do you understand what I just said? Am I wrong? Property taxes did not go up. I'm hearing from everybody, oh, property taxes doubled. Property taxes have gone up. They didn't. County tax went up. District school tax went up. Municipal purpose tax went up. Health tax went up. County open space went up. And the municipal library fund, that went up. So if somebody's saying that the municipal library doesn't have any money, it's right here on all of our tax bills. We all put in for it. So I just want to say thank you again for everything you've done. And keep up the good work no matter what you all do after this. Thanks for getting us back up into a running town. And I hope the next administration does just as good of a job as you guys have done, because I would be happy to see that. So there's so much more I'd like to say, but I just can't. That's enough with my notes. So thank you all, and you did a great job. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Katrina.
I'll bend down. Hi, Katrina Claps, B Street.
You should have just pulled the chair up.
I can still bend, that's good. Good evening, everybody. A question about the recycling, right? We made the decision when you guys came on board originally to go into the DPW taking care of our recycling. Now, am I wrong in the reason we did that was because for economic reasons, bringing it on board for economic reasons, because money was very tight?
Yes,
Okay.
at that time, we were able to save money, but it comes to the point now that we have to make a decision on whether to get a new truck. It's about $300,000, somewhere in that area, to only be used once a week. So we started taking a look at, because now recycling has, like, the pendulum has swung back a little bit. So we found that instead of hiring 2 more people and having the $300,000 truck, we put it out to bid, and the Delissa come in with a halfway decent price. So
Right, okay, Okay, so,
decided to go. So it's economics. again.
economics, purchasing, because we've been using the old trucks, right? For that are no longer viable.
Yeah,
They're
like
dying,
15 or
they're
16
dead.
years old or 20 years old, something like that.
20 years old.
They're
Right,
they're-
right. And this also frees up, correct me if I'm wrong, those DPWs that have been doing the garbage and recycling collection were not able to do other functions because a lot of time is spent, it takes a lot of time, doesn't it, to do the recycling route? I mean,
Yeah, it takes all our employees all day.
right.
So that's one full day of.
One full day, right, okay. So between employees not being able to do other things in town, the cost of getting a new garbage truck that would be necessary, or one or two, or whatever would be needed, it's a more viable option for the economy of Belmar to go back to having someone else do our recycling. Is that a true statement?
Yeah,
Okay.
true statement.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
Yes, Claire?
Getting old, I forgot something. Claire Hayner, 18th and B. With the recycling, are we gonna be limited to the size of the cans again?
It's gonna be, it's gonna be all the same policies for Delisa as were for the town. So if you just follow the same guidelines you've been following for us, it's gonna be the same procedure.
So like right now, I have a blue can for garbage, okay, because it's too big for recycling. And the green can for trash, or for recycling, which should be my garbage. So they're not gonna take a 45, they want a 30
It's gonna
can?
be a 32-gallon can. The same can they use for us, you'll use for Delisa.
Okay. I'll have to put mine on the other side, I'll make Tomos.
Yes. Kyle?
All right.
You're on back. Abercella, 14th Avenue, Belmar. The townhouses, thank you again for getting, today, they were out there trimming the trees that go around that property. They were trimming all the tops down again so the trees don't hit the wires on my house. That's the only issue I have with the townhouse and the trees, is that the trees get taller and then they decide to swing in the wind and then they whack into the wires on my house. I just have a question. Tomorrow is a senior lunch, correct? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Right? At Taylor Pavilion.
I don't know if they're calling it a senior lunch, but it was a lunch, Barry sent out an email to all the people who attend recreation as a base. And then, it was limited to just 75 people. So I don't know if you're calling it a senior luncheon. It's a Christmas luncheon. That's all I know.
I'm not sure, because I don't know anything about it.
It was on Facebook, but it was only limited to 75 people. So it's not all town. It's people who attend recreation. It was first come, first served. And they're full.
So there is no senior lunch for.
No, I'm on recreation and I don't see anything about a senior luncheon tomorrow.
So it's
but-
holiday luncheon, Wednesday, December 21st, Taylor Pavilion, please RSVP to Sally at Wellington Estates.
Right, yes.
So I don't think it's with the town.
Yeah, Wellington's a senior assisted living place. That's
Right.
why-
It's not senior, and it was
like a
just
lunch and
open to
learn.
75 people.
So
And that
it's
was
a
it.
seminar.
So there is or is not a senior lunch for this month then?
So I don't think it's through recreation.
It's not a senior luncheon. At recreation, Barry,
Just hosting it.
Barry told me that
Just
he
as-
used the
Name and
list
address, we know you are,
of
but
Francine Forte of 114 Avenue.
thank you.
Okay, so, the way I understand, from what Barry told me was that he used a database of people who participate in recreation, like I do. And then, I don't know, and then other people, I don't know where they got other people from. But anyway, that was like the base for this luncheon, and that's all I know. But it's not really what you would call a senior luncheon. But seniors would be interested in going to it, so that's it.
I'm not sure.
Downtown.
I can't give you an answer, Kyle.
It's an advertisement for Wellsprings.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's to promote,
Which is a 55 and older community.
exactly, it's to promote their business. And it's open to 75 people.
Lunch and learn.
It's a luncheon.
It's a luncheon not put on by the borough.
Correct.
It's not non-by You answered. Oh, also too, the other thing I forgot to mention was that you all took care of a lot of the problems and issues we had with McCleary Park. And since Rhode Island pointed out it was the forgotten section of town, you made sure, well, the whole time you guys and ladies were in, the whole time, you made sure that Rhode Island Point was not forgotten, things were taken care of, and over at McCleary Park, things have been taken care of. So I just want you to know that I realize that you have taken care of stuff in the section of town that's always just been pushed aside and Rhode Island Point doesn't exist. Well, we do, and you took care of a lot of stuff over there. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Before we do that, I just have a letter to read from the Environmental Commission. They asked me to read this to the Mayor and Council. Dear Mayor and Council, thank you for giving the Environmental Commission the opportunity to present our research on reintroducing water bottle refill stations to our boardwalk. After several years of not offering drinking water on our boardwalk, we were delighted to see 2 drinking water stations installed for summer 2022. We are hopeful that the new bubblers will help reduce single-use plastics as well as littering on our beach. The research we presented at the December 7, 2021 council meeting demonstrated that the LK powder-coated models are rust-resistant and appropriate for saltwater environment. We also gladly informed the Mayor and Council that this purchase can be made from our beach utility budget. Our presentation included examples of powder-coated bubblers on Spring Lake, Bradley Beach, and Asbury Park boardwalks. Recently, Avon also installed a powder-coated water bottle refill station. We were surprised and disappointed that Belmar purchased stainless steel models which are not suggested in a saline environment. Since there had been complaints that Belmar's previous water fountains rusted, the BEC would like it on the record that these are not the models it recommended. We suspect these new units may require replacement sooner than the life cycle we expected with the powder-coated model. As environmentalists, we are conscientious about purchasing items with a long lifespan as to avoid them quickly ending up in a landfill. For these reasons, we felt it was important to bring this to your attention. We respectfully request that moving forward, this concern is taken into consideration. We ask that the Mayor and Council purchase an additional 4 powder-coated units so Belmar is offering fresh drinking water at a total of 6 beach entrances to expand this benefit to more beach goers. And they're also hoping to reach out to the new Mayor and Council and request that their thoughts on this matter are on the record as well. Okay. Now can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Very good.